We are back. So where we had left our thought process was we were looking at how, like, we're trying to look at how girls can contribute to environmental awareness, because as you said, when you're looking earlier, you had mentioned there are environmental opportunities, and I know as girls we're wondering, so how do we even start creating this awareness? What are the platforms? What do we do? And that is the question that I'd want to pose to you, like, how can girls contribute to environmental awareness?
Thank you, Tess. Good to be back. I hope we're able to flow smoothly now.
Okay.
So what can girls do? What opportunities are there for girls, for young women? One way I think we can start with influencing and advocating for change and involvement of fellow young people and even our communities, because we said even awareness in itself is a big challenge. So young people are the experts in social media, for instance. So they're always looking for followers and, how many people follow me, how many platforms am I on? And that is one great way of reaching out to fellow young people. Older people are not so big on social media forums, but it is, I think, the greatest way of reaching out to your fellow youth. So, and young people are very creative in creating posts. So if an older person might think of recording a message or a lecture on, this is what this is, but young people have very diverse and very creative ways of passing across the message. So I encourage you to do this. There are people who even make a career out of it. You start, small and share your message. There are people who grow until you make a living out of it. So that's one way to explore. There are also very many recycling projects that young people are doing. One way of handling waste, for instance, and avoiding it going out there and destroying the environment is they're called the R's. There is reusing, recycling. So you take. We have just talked about clothes, for instance.
Yes.
We enjoy buying and buying and buying, but what do we do with the old clothes that we don't wear anymore, or old plastic containers? So you can make a project out of it. There are people who do jewelry, make like beads from old clothes or old plastics, make bags and sell them, make items for decoration, with bottles, tires, all these things that people already consider waste. There's so many projects that, you reference YouTube, for instance. If you go to YouTube, you'll see amazing things that young people are doing and creating employment for themselves and others through these projects. And a lot of these items might just be thrown away as waste because no one thinks it's of any value. So you may be able to source it very affordably or for free. You just need now to think, what can I make out of this? Some people are naturally very creative and can look at something and say, oh, I can make a wall hanging from this. I can make a necklace from this. I can make a cloth bag from this, or learn, just explore and see what you can do with these materials around you. When we started the conversation, we're talking about rural versus urban. So sometimes in this context may differ. So if we are looking at farming, for example, you don't have to see farming as this thing people think is of as punishment or old-fashioned, It's something for our grandmothers to do. Many young people are making how you look at it and your way of doing farming. You don't even need to think about, oh, do we have to move a country and buy a bulk? Get old containers, maybe a broken bucket or a water bottle that's not being used. Get some soil, get some seeds even from food leftovers, like think of tomatoes and fruit seedlings. So plant those in small spaces, create a source of food for you, expand it and, sell, teach other young people. So that's one way of farming. If you already have a big farm, you can embrace, for instance, organic farming. So you don't have to worry about, inputs like, do I need to go and buy fertilizers? Do I need to go and buy seeds? Use seeds that you already have. Use manure and other products that would otherwise be waste. So you don't have to, don't worry so much about, having huge land or owning it or owning a lot of capital. Think of starting small with what is available, small space that is available. Look at study other ways of farming where you don't have to, own 10 cows and take them, go looking for pasture somewhere. Keep one and, what sell milk from it, keep a few, so see farming in a different way. Don't see it as this boring thing that doesn't pay, that is very labor intensive, but with very little outcome. See it in a different way. You see young people growing, for instance, I remember reading about mushroom farming, where you don't even need land. You just need a small dark space and grow a lot of mushrooms there and supply. There's not even many people doing that. So there are many, with a different mindset and curiosity, there are many ways in which we can, I want to say revolutionize, it's a big term to use, but we can look at it in a different way and embrace as a way of taking care of ourselves. It can be your source of livelihood, and you can create an employment for other young people. There are also many environmental careers now. If you are looking at studying environmental in the field of environment, there are many aspects of environment that like the institutions of higher learning have really expanded this. So whether you want to look at environment in terms of renewable energy or management of natural resources, climate change, environmental health, community development, there are many aspects of environment which you can take as a career path if you want to specifically study environment. So that is also something that you can explore if you're maybe you finished high school, you are looking at courses to do. And remember, like we're saying, even in the field of employment now, there are so many options. It's not like traditionally the way you used to think, and I will go and work at the museum, or KFS will employ me, or Ministry of Environment. There are very many opportunities, whether it's in government, whether it is in the NGO sector. Faith communities have also really embraced care for the environment. There are opportunities there. So please explore that as an option. And when you do that, it means that you bring on board the voice of young people in decision making, in looking at the future, because we are told, young people are the ones who will be there tomorrow, and whatever damage is done now, they'll live with the consequences in the future. So I encourage people who are looking at going into higher education, and even those who already have it, in environment, there are many skills that are applicable. You don't have to have studied, environment, climate change, to be able to go and work in environment. If you, for instance, you want to work for an NGO, because in that NGO, they will need administrators, they will need finance people, they will need health experts. The environment encompasses so many different aspects, HR, all this. It's a whole, you can look at it as a whole industry with so many opportunities for different educational background.
And just to add on what you had said, is many a times we find that we have grown with the mentality that we need to study, work hard, and we are going to get a job. But you and I, the way we got that culture shock, by the time we were finishing school, you're like, okay, there's nothing like that.
Yes.
We need to realize that in whatever field that you started in, maybe the course that you studied, you
Yes.
can actually sit down and incorporate it to something at home there, to try in the, maybe the recycling they're using. Because one thing I know is that as youth, we are very creative.
Yes.
That one is given for sure. And as a youth, I'd want to maybe just even to encourage them that to try and blend in, because maybe someone did biochemistry, right? And maybe there's clothes, or maybe they've seen a certain waste, and they can tell, like when you connect the two dots, they can come up with something. It doesn't have to be you go to, okay, you need to start somewhere. Maybe you can go to YouTube and then just start maybe doing your own recycling thing. I know it's going to be a hassle, because with us, we want something that is going to give us money like now and become successful by the time we're maybe 28, we are 30, we are resigning from our work, we're living the life. But there's that aspect of the journey itself that we have to go through, and we have to at least even respect. So just starting with that is that there's that creativity, there's that process. Maybe you did something that you can look into maybe our environment and then see how can I merge them and then get something creative out of it, something unique. And it is just a challenge that I'd want to pose to you as a lady, as a gentleman who's going to be watching this, because you never know. We are all here, we're all unique, we're all different. And that is like one of the things that maybe I just wanted to add onto this point, because we can all benefit economically from the environment. Yes,
Yes.
and also from the problem that we hold, like that we have. Yes. And just looking at that is to tell you thank you so much for just taking your time out to be here with us. And even before I forget, maybe if you can summarize in at least
Yes.
2 minutes, and then you can also let us know how can we find you.
Okay. Thank you, Tess.
Yes.
So we are looking at our relationship with the environment.
Yes.
What role do you play as a woman, as a young woman, as a young man? We're talking about young people in taking care of the environment. So every little thing that you do has an impact on everyone around you and everything around you. We were all created by God, and everything, he said everything was beautiful, everything had its place, and everything needs the other thing. Every creation has a role for itself and for every other living thing so whatever you do is not does not just impact you, it impacts all of creation, the ones you can see, the ones you do not even know and you cannot see. So let us be conscious, and let us not think of care for the environment as something for governments or it is something that each one of us has a role to play in our smallest spaces as individuals, as households, as institutions, in our faith communities, in our work communities, and so on. And talking about we finished by talking about young people. As Tess has said, there's so many things that we can do, and I also want to encourage you to work and trust in the process. You have your own job. Don't worry about that person who's already thriving and is your age and seems to be doing better than you. Everybody has their own path, and you are don't lose out. Don't sacrifice your own success while trying to chase someone else's. What is yours is yours. Trust the process. Work towards it. Is there something you love to do? Give it your best. Be responsible, and what is yours will come to you. So all the opportunities are there. Let us explore them. Let us be advocates of change. Let us be the ones that influence our friends, our families, and everybody around us to be aware and to play even the small bit in care for our environment. Thank you, Tess. You talked about where I can be reached. I'm not really big on social media, but I am on Facebook and Twitter. Wangeshi, my name on both platforms. Wangeshi and on Twitter.
Please repeat the tags again.
Okay, so I am at Wangeshi _Mugo. Wangeshi I at the end. On I am Wangeshi Mugo.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. And just to remind you, our dear listener, and our viewer, is that in life there is beauty in everything, but not everyone sees it. My question to you is, do you see the beauty? Thank you so much. This has been the Echo Gitu KE podcast, and I have been your host, Teresa Gitao. You can always follow us on our social media platforms. That is on Twitter at Echo Gitu KE. And also you can follow me on Twitter at Teresia Gitao 3. 3 is in numbers, so it's Teresia Gitao 3. Other than that, thank you so much for tuning in, and do have a lovely day, night, or even evening at whatever time that you will be watching this. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.